Welcome to today's deep dive. If you've ever wondered how just, a single line item in a government tax code can literally change the physical landscape of a global city, well, this is your masterclass.
Yeah, it really is.
We are unpacking a Knight Frank research report today on the prime central London property market. We really want to figure out why sellers of, honestly, some of the most expensive real estate on earth are suddenly and aggressively slashing their prices.
Right. It's this striking look at behavioral economics in real time. Because, a policy change at the top, it doesn't just shuffle numbers around in a ledger.
No, definitely not.
It actually triggers this chain reaction that literally empties out mansions.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because
Sure.
to understand the empty mansions, we really have to look at the VIP Club rulebook. So imagine prime central London as this exclusive global club.
Right, the ultimate VIP section.
Exactly. And for decades, the cover charge for certain international VIPs was practically zero on the money they made outside of the club. But now, management has completely hiked that cover charge into the stratosphere.
And suddenly the club next door is looking pretty good.
Right.
Yeah, the mechanics of that cover charge hike are exactly what's driving this exodus. We are talking about the end of the UK's non-dom tax era. So under the old rules, a non-domiciled resident could live in the UK without paying tax on their overseas income.
Which is just a massive perk.
Huge. But the new rules cap that grace period at just 4 years. And the real kicker is what happens after those 4 years.
Right, they come for the estate.
Exactly. Your entire worldwide estate is suddenly subject to a 40% UK inheritance tax.
See, I get that paying more income tax hurts. I mean, nobody likes that. But why is the inheritance tax piece the absolute deal breaker here? I mean, these buyers are rich enough to absorb a hit, right?
Well, because it targets generational wealth, not just their annual cash flow. So if you have assets built up over a lifetime in completely different countries, exposing all of that to a 40% tax just for living in London, it simply doesn't make financial sense.
Wow, 40% of everything.
Yeah, everything. A former Treasury economist, Chris Walker, actually published a study warning about this exact friction. He pointed out that the government's analysis on how many wealthy individuals would leave was pretty flawed.
Oh, meaning they underestimated the flight risk.
Exactly, and that risks a massive overall tax shortfall.
Because, I mean, these people won't just sit there and take it. They'll just pack up and move their residency to somewhere like Italy. I know Italy is actively rolling out this simple annual flat tax to ring-fence overseas income.
Right, an alternative like that makes staying in London a really tough sell.
So if these global investors are packing up for Milan, that leaves a lot of empty keys in London real estate offices. How is that physically manifesting in the housing market right now?
Well, we are seeing a hard freeze. Sellers are just stubbornly anchoring to the valuations their homes had a year ago.
Which are completely outdated now.
Very outdated. And buyers are, well, they're weaponizing this new tax reality to demand steep discounts. So in the 6 months leading up to May, prime London sales dropped by 7%.
Wait, 7%?
Yeah, and average prices in prime central London fell 2.2% annually.
Okay, that definitely explains the 6 to 12-month market freeze the report mentions. Because if you're trying to sell a multi-million-pound townhouse right now, you're staring at a buyer pool that knows you might be desperate to offload it before the tax rules fully kick in.
Absolutely. Stuart Bailey, he's the head of prime central London sales at Knight. Frank, he noted that properties lingering that long are eventually taking double-digit reductions just to force a sale through.
Double digits, wow.
And compound that with April's stamp duty hike on second homes, that jumped from 3% to 5%, so the friction for a buyer is just immense right now.
But wait, I'm looking at the data here, and there's this weird contradiction. If the wealthy are fleeing and the center market is frozen, why did prices in prime outer London actually rise by 1.1% in that exact same period?
So that really exposes the divide between international capital and local necessity. Prime outer London isn't driven by foreign investors' parking wealth.
Oh, it's domestic.
Exactly. It's driven by domestic needs-based buyers. Local families who need an extra bedroom, or maybe they want to be in a specific school catchment area.
Right, everyday real estate reasons.
Exactly. So the center is hollowing out because it's tied to global tax strategy, but the outer rings are buoyed by everyday domestic life.
Okay, so that means the government isn't collecting that luxury stamp duty revenue from the center anymore. And this real estate correction is bleeding straight into the national balance sheet just in time for the autumn budget.
Which is a huge headache.
Right, because the live debate in the cabinet right now is how to balance the books by taxing wealth without, accidentally suffocating the revenue you actually need.
Yeah, Chancellor Rachel Reeves is boxed into a brutal trilemma here. To meet her fiscal rules, she essentially has to pick her poison.
What are the options?
Choice 1 is cut public spending. Choice 2, raise taxes somewhere else. Or choice 3, loosen the fiscal rules entirely to borrow more money.
Which risks spooking in the financial markets and sending everyday mortgage rates soaring, right?
Precisely. And the Knight Frank report's underlying warning is that shrinking your own tax base by driving away the foreign investment that usually pays those high transaction taxes, well, it makes every single one of those three choices much harder to execute.
It really highlights the danger of static economic modeling. You can't just rewrite the tax code and assume human behavior is going to remain constant.
No, absolutely not.
People, especially those with massive resources, will always optimize their situations.
Right. The moment you change the rules of the game, the players change their strategy.
Exactly. Which leaves you, the listener, with something to ponder after we wrap up today. If prime central London genuinely loses its historical status as the world's ultimate safety deposit box for wealth, what fills the void?
That is the million-dollar question.
It really is. If the international investors vacate those massive townhouses, what new demographics or even new industries might step in to claim the center of the city?